WWF Light Heavyweight Champion Gilbert, brother, and you're listening to the Greetings Guild Podcast.
Let's get things started off right. And that's how it starts off right.
That's how it always starts. And
yep. Rudeness with bad manners.
Right into people's ear hole.
An explicit and aggressive lack of couth.
Couth.
Couth. Have you
That's a
seen
fun
my
word to
couth
say.
around here? Couth?
Yes.
Especially if you put like pretty little lilt at the end of it. Couth.
Couth.
I was trying to pay for my meal. This cashier's being rude to me. She ain't got no coat. That coat done left her.
Yeah. Why does that sound dirty?
I don't know. You ever seen a girl with coot like that? It's all filthy and covered in grease.
Hello,
Nasty,
cretins.
Hairiest, no coot having cootless.
You just couldn't keep it going, could you?
Oh,
You tried, though. You tried. Hello, cretins. He's Corey. I'm Bob.
yeah.
We're back for another episode of our podcast that we have absolutely no idea what we're going to talk about. It's just we haven't done one in such a while that we're thinking, we should just talk about something.
Welcome to the House of Utter No Coot.
That's going to be a house at next year's at Halloween Horror Nights.
Sorry,
boy.
I'm laughing like that because I took a drink.
Yep. And you don't want to spray your laptop.
The House of Zero Couth.
It has the shortest line for some reason.
Yeah, it's just dudes burping and fucking scratching themselves in public. Nobody really scares you or anything. It's just a lot of people being, unpleasant.
Yeah. I mean, you can get that without even going in the house.
Yeah, no shit. That's like, oh no, that's their scare zone. It's going to be park wide
Oh.
the next year, and it's going to be the House of Zero Couth. And here's the twist: it's all the guests that are going to be the performers, and they don't even know it. They don't tell them. They're just like, go out there. No, all the drinks are free tonight.
Sit in
by
the
the
chair.
way. Yeah, sit in the chair right there. Just let it rip at anyone who passes by. Oh no! Oh god! It's horrible.
Here, eat this whole can of beans. Just right out of the can. Here's a can opener and a spoon. Go nuts.
Dude, this is the best HHN ever. It's like free trashy drinks and free beans. They're just passing them out right from the can.
And the fog is on extra strong.
You can hear it across the lagoon. Oh, they're doing this in the whole park? Man.
Not the screams, but more of the disappointment groans.
Just you hear like a low gurgling burp in one of the alleys in the Chicago set back on the back lot. No, it's coming closer.
It reverberates.
It's like the ghost from The Grudge.
So, since we're talking about that, let me...
What a fucking seg, Bob. That's
I know.
absolutely smashing.
Yeah, set it up for me. So let's go ahead and talk about this year's Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah.
I've been a few times already. I have a couple more visits left on my pass, so I'm going to try and use them as much as... I was planning to go tonight, but Mother Nature said, no, I'm just going to rain all day.
That's Mother Nature does that bit a lot.
Yeah.
When it comes to HHN or any park events, really.
But Halloween Horror Nights more than anything else, because that's part of my arsenal now. When I go, I just bring an umbrella and a water bottle, because you're going to run into either rain or intense sun.
You're gonna get water in the face, and in that case, it's good to have water in a bottle.
Yeah.
Along with you to counterbalance that. I don't know.
This year's Horror Nights is a little unique for me, because there's a lot of there's a lot of the houses that I have not seen the source material for.
I gotta admit, I have no fucking clue what the houses or the scare zones are this year.
Well, guess what? I can go over them with you.
Oh, you could. You were planning on doing exactly that, weren't you?
I might have the list pulled up, maybe.
All right, regale me, because I want to know exactly. Exactly.
Well,
I want to know generally what houses these are and which bits of source material you are not familiar with.
Well, the two headlining houses is Stranger Things Season 4, which I turned Netflix off while I was watching that, so I have no idea how it ends, and I've been through the house, and I'm like, cool, what the hell's going on?
That's too bad, because 4 was the tits. That was a good return to form for them.
You know, I think I turned it off, and I was planning to come back to it because I think by the second or third episode, I was getting the hint that the creators of the show might have been bullied when they were kids.
You could have gotten that from the first season. Don't you remember when they were threatened over at the quarry?
Yeah, I remember. But
one of the guys pulled a knife on them?
Yeah, and the constant reminder, hey, there's bullies out there. Remember them?
The thing about, bullying nowadays is it embodies a bit of a different MO. I mean, getting bullied nowadays is somebody on Twitter, calling you like a fudge packer or something. But like back in the day, straight up, the bar for being bullied in the 80s was perilously fucking low, and all you had to be was like even slightly different from what was considered to be, the mold for a typical child,
Yeah.
So of course anybody that's into D&D is going to have a bullseye painted like brightly on their backs. And nowadays, like, bullies can't even conceive. That's the funniest thing. One of the most illuminating, like, generational tweets that I had read is that somebody was talking about, like, being bullied as we know bullying. And they're like, that's not being bullied. That's full-on fucking assault. That's what we had to deal with all the time in the 80s.
Yeah.
That's how it used to be, man. It was perilous.
Yeah, you get off the bus, kid follow you home, and if your parent isn't home, he's going to kick in the screen door and let your pets out. Yeah,
I'm not saying this like in a way that was like, oh, kids nowadays are pussies, because it traumatized the shit out of a lot of us.
Yeah.
But it's funny to me to imagine that like people have like redefined or at least recontextualized bullying as involving no physical contact.
It's all psychological now.
Yeah. It's all emotional. Well, it was emotional back then too, but there was a lot more at risk. Mm-hmm. I remember like when that episode aired, the one where the kid pulls the knife on Mike and whoever at the quarry, there's like a couple of tweets that I saw where people were like, that didn't happen back then. That's not what bullying is. This is so extra. And it's like, fucking shut your mouth.
Yes, it did.
If you were born after the Game Boy Advance, please kindly button that shit up. Because you have no idea. Bullying
we
was
were definitely
insanity.
it was definitely hell of a lot different. But okay, so that's Stranger Things.
Oh yeah, there's other houses.
The other house, the other main event house is The Exorcist Believer for the new movie coming out. Which
there's a new movie.
I actually think it's kind of funny that this house, the movie doesn't open until like early October. And Horror Nights started at the beginning of September, so. This house was kind of like a big old spoiler.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, it is.
But this kind of just fits the bill of IPs that I haven't seen. So, hey, why not go and watch or go through a house based on a movie that's not even out yet?
It's kind of a limited exposure, though, because I still haven't seen Us. And I definitely did that house a couple of times, because that was one of my favorite ones from that year.
That was a scary house.
It was unnerving as shit. It was really well staged, and I could not still tell you what it was about. All I know is that it involved doppelgangers, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
because I haven't seen the movie, so I have no way to contextualize its presentation.
But this house, The Exorcist, it had some of the most genuine, real scares that I've had in quite some time. This was a really good house. I enjoyed it.
Nice. You get blasted with pea soup?
Did I? You know
Probably
what? I think
there was
there was a house. I can't remember. No, I think it was another house where we had stuff sprayed on us. They can't obviously throw full cans of Campbell soup at you. Even though that would be funny as hell.
Yeah, and they can't because, there'd be one freak show just going in through the house over and over again. Be like, oh, God, more, please, just...
Rub it on my nipples.
Gets them in my mouth. That's, the interesting thing to me about The Exorcist is that Fox actually had that show a couple of years ago that ran for a goodly couple of seasons. I think like maybe 3 seasons. That was an excellent bit of TV, but it wasn't necessarily a reboot. It was taking the property and then telling an altogether new story or new kind of story with it, which is really cool.
Because that's always a winner.
It won in this case. It was fine.
Okay.
Remember that like before this happened, the last Exorcist whatever, for one thing, nobody really thought of it as like a property or an IP or something. It was just one movie and then 2 more movies. And then they tried to bring it back in 2005, I think, as Exorcist the Beginning, as a prequel, and that bombed because it was horrible. And then they actually released the original director's cut because they fired the first director in the middle of production, and nobody saw that.
A good production.
What's that?
Always a sign of a great production.
Oh yeah, firing the director right in the middle of it. I mean, the guy that's making the fucking movie for you. Yeah, that shit's on track. Anyway, so a couple of years later, the idea was lying dormant, and then some genius at Fox was like, we should turn this into like the Exorcist universe. What? And then they created a TV show out of it. But the show was fucking excellent because they did with that show what a lot of people don't really remember about the first movie is that keeping it grounded. Because the first movie is such like a cultural like landmark now. It's set up like its own iconography and aesthetic that people consider that to be self-contained, or at least that movie's visual identity. But what it did was that it kept everything normal. Absolutely normal. Until things could no longer afford to be normal. And the show like understood that. Like the entire thing is like, it's not a slow burn, but everything is like, it's not muted, it's not bright, it doesn't use like a presentational color palette. All the actors act like persons, and the dialogue is really organic. And then all of a sudden, girl's head turns around. And the way that they like provide that twist in the first episode is just like, God damn it, I'm in for a ride now. So the show's over, and I kind of thought they were just going to be that's it for a bit, and then somebody was like, no, we should do more Exorcist.
Do some more.
Let's go do some more Exorcist. People are asking for more Exorcist, so let's go ahead and give it to them. Why not? Very, very Hollywood, but yeah, it's funny that you walked through a spoiler for that movie at Universal Studios.
Another house is a Chucky house, which at first I thought, well, this fits the bill. It's going to be for the upcoming season, which has not been released yet. But no, it's more of like a really generic Chucky house.
Did they kind of they do like a recap of the last season with it?
I didn't watch any of the Chucky episodes. I didn't realize that was a thing until recently. But it's more like Chucky's going through a toy factory and killing the workers, I guess. It was a weird house because this location, it debuted last year, where they do the house inside the Fast and Furious ride.
No, they're using it for something good.
Yeah, they're actually, there's people actually enjoying themselves in that building now. But what they did last year is they turned it. It was the Blumhouse house, and what they did is they took 2 of their stories, and it's instead of a normal sized house, it's a little like chop it into 3/4. And then double that, if that makes sense. So it's one house that's only 3/4 of a regular house, and then you go right into a second house, all in the same maze.
Yeah, they actually did a Blumhouse. They did a Blumhouse house. Fuck. They did that. It was somewhere near like Fievel's Playland a couple of years ago. By a couple of years, I'm probably talking about like 2014.
Yeah.
Which was actually 9 years ago.
Did they do 2 stories in one house, basically? Yeah,
kind of. It was Sinister 2, and then a couple of others I don't remember. Because Sinister is kind of like an indulgence. Because the first movie is like legit good. The second movie is not all that good. But what the fucking fuck? Hold on a second. Hold on. You? Just calm down over there. Sorry, the gay club next door just opened up for the night. Anyway, sorry. Sinister 2 I enjoyed it, but it was kind of a turd of a movie. But it had really good actors in it.
Well, the great thing about the house last year is I forget the name of the first story, but you go through it and then you take a few extra steps, turn the corner, and hey, here's the second part of this house. I think this one was Black Phone.
Mm-hmm. Oh shit, that must have been nuts.
Yeah, if you'd never seen it, you didn't have no idea what was going on. Just like a lot of me this year. But at the same time, I still enjoyed it.
Yeah. Have you ever seen that one?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
All right.
It would probably some of it would probably make sense once I do. This year, that location is the Chucky house, where you go through the first part, and then you turn the corner, and then, hey, you thought you were done? You come back here, and it just amps up the gore and the violence in the second house, which, I took my eldest son to Horror Nights for the first time this year.
How old is he?
He is going to be 14 this week.
Really? Well, I thought there was an age limit to that.
There is an age suggestion. It is not a limit.
Oh my god! So I could fucking take like, I was gonna say my 5-year-old kid. No, I could kidnap somebody's 5-year-old kid and then bring it to Halloween Horror Nights with me.
I saw people pushing around strollers.
Nice. That's raising them right.
I have no idea what they're gonna do with them because you can't take the stroller into the house, and if they do, oh my god!
Wow, that's poor planning, but raising them right.
Yeah. Well, as we were going through the house, I turned to him and I was like, "Are you okay with this? Because you don't normally see this kind of gore, violence, Hollywood horror stuff." And he's like, "Yeah, Dad, I'm fine." Like this generation is so desensitized right now. He didn't flinch at all during any of the houses.
Dude, there's nothing I don't think you could see at Halloween Horror Nights that YouTube hasn't already shown him.
This might be true.
The other day, I swear to God, the other day, Mary and I were talking about because I'm going to be leaving here in a little bit, in about a month. Me playing like a horror game for her to watch, like back in the day, and I suggested one, and Victor overhears. He's like, "Oh, you don't want to see that," and then Mary goes, "How the hell do you know what we're talking about?" And I'm like, dude, he knew who Monica was before he actually saw me playing Doki Doki Lit Club once, and he's like, "Oh, I know who Monica is. You're gonna love this." And I'm like, A, don't spoil it, and B, you should not know who Monica is.
Yeah.
None of this stuff should be like open to you.
That one did have a lot of Let's Players doing, so that's probably how he picked it up. That's how I picked it up. I never played the game.
Yeah, but it's like everything. Let's Players play horror games because that's the kind of shit that used to put like PewDiePie and Markiplier on the map. Ah, my hair is pink and I'm screaming. You know that shit. That's what made dudes millionaires.
I really can't fault them because it worked. They're very rich.
It doesn't happen as much anymore, though.
No, it's YouTube has become a little too corporate for a lot of people. Like, if you say shit, we're not going to give you money.
Dude, the apocalypse fucked a bunch of people up.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of games, one of the next houses is The Last of Us. And I first thought, oh, this is probably based off the HBO show. Nope, it's based right off the game because the PlayStation logo is right there in front of it.
That's cute.
But as I understand, the show follows the game almost step by step.
Because the game's pretty much a goddamn movie, yeah.
Yeah. And then the last IP house is a Universal Monsters house. This one has Dr. Jekyll, the Phantom of the Opera, the Invisible Man, and the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Cool. Wait, the Invisible Man?
Yes.
How could you tell?
Because he was wrapped in bandages and burping.
That'd be great if most of the Invisible Man, I know you've already seen it, so it's probably not like this, but most of the Invisible Man is just like some dude, I don't know, it's like jets of air just blowing at your face, and then somebody screaming 10 feet that way, but basically nothing else happens. That's
how we would do Invisible Man these days. Somebody sitting on the couch and they start sniffing the air.
Yeah.
And then you hear someone trying to hide a giggle in the back of the room.
I'm the Invisible Man and I have gas. I'm scary. Ooh, my dick's out. And then you just hear like a thud in the background.
He ran into a door.
You trip over something unseen. Ooh.
Well, those were the IP houses. The original houses this year, I think, are far better. Let's see. We had Dr. Oddfellow's Twisted Origins. This is this year's icon, Dr. Oddfellow. Mm-hmm. The story is he is the guy who is cause of the origin story of Jack the Clown.
So they're making new mascots now?
Yeah.
That is so cool. Oh my, that's awesome. Oh, did they do that last year, or is it just something they're ramping up again this year?
I think last year they just had a celebration of the icons with the Icon House, which was probably one of the best.
That might be what caused this then.
Yeah, they're probably going back and recreating icons now. And so, yeah, that's the one for this year. After that, we have another Yeti house.
They're doing the Yeti again.
Yeah, Yeti Campground.
That's awesome.
I thought this was going to suffer from same monster-itis, where you see the same character over and over again. They do some really good. I think one of the best scares I had in the entire night was in this house.
Dude, the Yeti house was like one of the most pleasantly innovative houses at the one horror nights that we went to. And that was the horror nights that had Slaughter Cinema. So those two were like fighting with each other over like who
was
trying to top each other. Dude, that was so good. And he fucking like blasts one at you like right as you're leaving in the neutral area. That was so fucking good.
Yeah, this one is kind of the same. Well, not exactly the same. It's just another Yeti house.
You can't pull the same tricks twice.
You can try, but
yeah. No, they didn't do that, did they?
No, it is completely new. But speaking of new or old tricks, there is a Dueling Dragons house this year.
Oh, fuck them. What?
Yep, there's two wizards fighting each other, one fire, one ice, and they use dragons as their avatars. And the great thing about this is towards the end of the house, it splits and you have to choose either fire or ice.
I choose for them to suck out my fucking farts, man. That's nasty. That's like... Oh, man. I don't know. It's tough to not take that one personally.
Are you more disappointed you're not experiencing it?
A little bit, because that does sound neat. But the thing is that like they got rid of the IP, and it seems like to most people that were pretty aware of the goings on or the continuing development or I guess de-evolution of the Lost Continent, that they're trying to phase all that shit out. Almost as if in a campaign of shame. And then they're like, hey, remember that baller roller coaster we had for about 20 years that you can't go on anymore? Well, we're just here to remind you that it doesn't still exist. But here's a haunted house.
Now, I would love it if they continue this trend and do more houses based off of old rides that aren't around anymore. Like, say, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure house.
That'd be pretty cool. I hope they put a bit more production into it than the shows that they used to have. But that just made me think, though. So Universal still obviously has the rights to use the Marvel property for its section of the Islands theme park. But does that IP extend to event-based attractions?
From what I understand, that is attractions only, and it only applies to X-Men, Avengers, Fantastic Four, and Spider-Man, which for Marvel, that's just about everything.
Yeah, except for the horror properties. So does Disney just like retain exclusive ownership of the horror stuff for like all the B-listers?
For
in most cases.
For theme park attractions on the east coast of the Mississippi, yeah, I would assume because they opened up a Guardians of the Galaxy ride.
Right. God, there's like regional distinctions. Well, yeah, there'd have to be, I guess. Well, no, wait. They opened a Guardians ride up over in Epcot too, didn't they?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh.
Universal only has those four. Well, they have Avengers, X-Men. What else did I say? Spider-Man and
Fantastic Four, right.
Yeah, now anything that falls under those lines, they have the rights to, which is probably like 700 characters.
Damn. You know, I was thinking would be pimp as shit is if they did like some comic book based horror stuff in their Halloween Horror Nights. I mean, they could just go with like a general concept with one of their originals, like you being sucked into a horror comic, like an old EC comic or something, The Vault of Terror.
They should do a Blade House.
They should do a Blade House. Yeah, that'd be fucking neat. Oh, you started out in the Blood Rave. How about that?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
That'd be cash fucking money.
Well, the last two original houses, one of them I had no idea what was going on. I saw the title Blood Moon Dark Offerings, and I'm like, okay. But let me read the little description they have here. In a colonial era village, moon worshippers witness a blood moon at their fall festival. They take it as a sign to hunt down any non-followers, including you and your Scream Squad.
Dude, that's harsh.
Again, I have no idea what was going on in this house. It was basically there's a lot of witchcraft and paganry, iconography.
Imagery.
Imagery? Sure, let's
yeah.
go with that.
That works.
So yeah, there was a lot of that. Obviously, there was this one, the cold open room for this house was this huge set where there's a guy walking on the bridge above you, and behind him there was a projection of a giant full moon, but it was all red. It looked great.
Just a giant ass.
Yeah,
of course. That was such a low barrier for me. Anyway, dude, I love it when they do the cold opens. Do you remember the first time we did a Stranger Things house?
Yes.
And they actually did the logo, and you walk underneath it while playing the
music's playing, and this was the first time I ever experienced a cold open in a house, and they've all seemed to do this now. Where you walk in, the music's playing, you just have a screen projection of the title, and you're going through it. It's like, okay, where's the scare? Where's the scare? And then you go into the next room. It's like, oh, that was a cold open.
Yeah, that was good. Now, Stranger Things did the coldest of the cold opens, in my opinion. That was like fucking elevated. But they actually did one in a house before that, and I don't know if you remember. Speaking of the Last of Us house, they did a Resident Evil house, but it wasn't based on the movies. It was based on the game, and they had. We're calling them cold opens, but they're more like ante rooms, I guess, if we're trying to visually describe it. Because you go in through the first corridor. I don't know if you want to call it an aperture or whatever, and then you're in a darkened room, and then you see something coming right towards you because you're walking towards it, but it's lit in such a way that it's not terribly obvious until you get closer to it. And in the Resident Evil house, it was press start, and then after you go into press start, then all the stuff starts happening. And I was like, I fucking don't like Resident Evil all that much, but that was fucking clever.
Yeah. No, I like that. This very last house might be my favorite. It's called Darkest Steel.
Okay.
The description is a blues
Haunted
musician.
Car Lot.
Huh?
Haunted Car Lot.
Haunted Car Lot.
That'd be pretty cool.
You're on the right track. A blues musician will have to face the music after meeting with they can't use the word the devil or Satan or what, I don't know why. So they just call him the Collector. And trading his soul for musical glory.
A Faustian deal narrative. Yeah. Okay, it's classic.
It's basically Devil Went Down to Georgia, but it's set in Mississippi. And it's about blues music. So you're walking through a cornfield, you're walking through a nightclub, a blues music house, music house, and you have demons jumping out. It's like, I want your soul is mine, stuff like that. And it's all this kind of, I guess, 1920s theming kind of. That's the vibe I got. It could have been 30s. It could have been today. It's all Mississippi. What the hell do I know?
Well, do certain people have voting rights in this haunted house?
I don't know. Depending on the era, probably not. But inside this house, there was one scene that actually made me freeze for an annoying amount of time, and I was just taking it in. It's like, am I actually looking at this? Oh my god! So apparently, the producer who made this was a big wrestling fan.
Oh no!
And he put in something in the house that 100%. It fits the theming, but it's a wooden rocking chair moving on its own with a short brim fedora on the handle.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Like I said, it fits the theming of the house, but at the same time, it was too perfect. I think it was like a bright or a white fedora of some kind, just like what Bray Wyatt used to wear.
Damn. I mean, I understand the tribute, but it's Halloween Horror Nights, not Halloween Sorrow Nights.
Yeah, you're already sorry when you look at your bill.
Well, yeah, okay, that's fair enough. But shit, I don't know. That's kind of like a bittersweet ending to. What if somebody like tries to scare you like right after that? You're gonna be like, hold on, give me a second. Just back up, dude. All right, you're too close. Thank you.
Hold on, I need a minute.
All right.
Hold on. No. You can scare me in just a second.
And then the demon, like, harassing you is like, I know, I gotta deal with it every night, man. It's too much. I was just waiting for him to make his comeback, and he fucking never did. Oh, by the way, boo. I'm not feeling it now. Whatever. Damn.
So yeah, those are the houses. We actually have 5 IP houses, unlike last year where we only had 4.
Well, it's again. Would you say it was them kind of topping themselves with the original houses over the IP houses this time?
Yes,
it sounds like the original houses was a milestone.
The Last of Us was good.
No, the last house. The last
house
you went to, yeah.
Yeah, Darkest Steel. Yeah, that's the one I definitely want to hit one more time, at least 2 more times. But yeah, the original houses, in my opinion, are much better this year. I mean, it's not really a shocker. They're usually better anyway.
Yeah. Except for that one year when they had that, like, Psychotronica house where they gave you, like, the 3D glasses at the beginning, and then they were like, you were injected with an experimental mind drug. And it was basically
We don't talk about that one.
What the hell? Okay, so you remember that shit?
Well, everyone hates that one.
It was ridiculous.
I think that was the year that they actually had some Horror Nights at Islands of Adventure.
That was cool, and I really wish they would do that again.
Well, I think they don't do that because just the logistics of spreading everything out too much.
I mean, obviously, yeah, but damn, it's too bad that they didn't make enough money to justify doing it ever again.
Well, they're definitely making money now.
That's why everybody hated that one. I bet. Okay, so if you like asked a Halloween Horror Nights aficionado if they remembered the name of it, would they be able to like? No, I don't want to. I made myself forget. Thanks for reminding me of it, dickhead. That was funny. Nope. Go ahead. Sorry.
It's like that one episode in the first season of Next Generation where everyone says, "Oh, this is really bad. Oh, this is really bad."
The jellyfish is fucking.
No, not that one. The racist episode.
The racist episode?
Yeah, you just search Star Trek Next Gen racist episode, and you can probably find it.
That's going to be like the universal Google search term for it. Star Trek
probably
racist episode.
I forget the name of the episode, but everyone agrees that this one was just awful.
Code of Honor.
Code of Honor, that's it.
That was it. All right, this isn't just bad television. Hold up.
Oh, do you have a synopsis?
I do. This isn't just bad television. It's openly offensive. It seems to do its best effort to undo some of the most important lessons the original series imparted. Code of Honor is the 4th episode of the first season of the American science fiction television series Star Trek: The Next Generation. Originally aired, episode is written by Catherine Powers and Michael Barr and directed by Rose Mayberry. Set in the 24th century, the series follows the adventures... Okay, in this episode, while the ship is visiting the planet Shut up. That can't... No.
What does it say?
Is visiting the planet Ligon 2. Hey, Captain! Hey! Hey, Jean-Luc Picard! What planet are we going to? Ligon, I know. Shut up. Please, just shut the fuck up. I'm not dealing with you right now.
They named 2 planets that!
Ligon, he's nuts. Crewman Tasha Yar, Denise Crosby, is abducted by the leader of the Ligonians. Hold on a second. As I understand it, that's not even the meat of the episode, and it's already fucking got me bound up. The race abides by a the race abides by a strict code of honor, and their leader seeks to use Yar as a pawn to increase his power. All right. Powers and Baron pitched a story based on a reptilian race following a code of honor similar to the Bushido Code of the Samurai. This was developed into the final story, which is described as having a 1940s tribal Africa theme by staff writer Tracy Torme. Episode was received negatively amongst cast, crew, fans, and reviewers, and has been called quite possibly the worst piece of Star Trek ever made. All right, so that was like the first episode synopsis. I don't want to like crush down 2 paragraphs on a fucking podcast, but I'm trying to dig out the core of it here. Tour the ship, Luton Lagonians abduct Yar, train more respect the service.
I'm not sure you're going to find it in a synopsis written out. It was more of visual, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Well, we're like hold up. I'm not going to say anything right now, but I'm going to go back to the search term and find some images. Woo! Holy
there
shit.
It is.
Oh, no. Oof.
It's amazing that first season got greenlit for a second.
Ooh. Oh, man, that's a fucking move. Yeah, I get it. Okay. All right. I see what you're talking about. So it wasn't necessarily having to do with the plot, but with like the production, I guess the production concept.
To a point, it was some of the plot, but at the same time, it was the casting of actors for this particular plot. Kind of
Manischewitz and like Tasha Yar is going. Oh yeah, I could see why Denise wanted off of that show. God,
all right. Fired.
She was fired?
Well, I think she asked for a raise. And they said, "Oh, we can get anyone to play Tasha Yar." Okay,
yeah, I would have asked for the raise. I'm sorry, especially after doing that one. Like that's the only natural reaction as an actor. Like if I'm going to do any more of these, if you're going to have me wear like fucking lobster claws with nails sticking out of them, fighting, I don't know, the blacks, then probably I'm going to need a little bit more to chase this down with. You know what I'm saying? Like that's got to be a strong drink.
Yeah, I mean every season of every Star Trek series franchise has had one episode that they just never want to go back to. It's like, oh god, no, that was horrible. And you know, it's more of perspective for some people. Like I hate the hologram or the holodeck episodes on Next Gen, where they spend the whole episode in the holodeck. Hey, let's figure out this Sherlock mystery. Let's do this Western thing. It's like, I want to watch spaceships. I want to watch aliens blow each other up. Come on.
My least liked. I'm not going to say hated because A, I haven't seen enough Star Trek. But B, the best science fiction is when the setting is used for strong allegory and metaphor. And the worst science fiction that I can see on TV is when they go to a planet that's like just like our 20th century, or is just like our 1940s. In order
and
to,
you can
like,
tell they just went right out the back door and filmed on the streets of whatever LA.
Like I knew that like even the Orville kind of did this. And I don't know if they did it like intentionally or meta intentionally or whatever, but it's easily the weakest episode out of the entire show. But it was the one where Seth MacFarlane had some stuff to say about cancel culture. So
that episode.
Yeah, you know the one I'm talking about, don't you?
Yeah, the up and down votes episode.
Yeah, that was like, that's why science fiction is a medium, dude. So you don't have to like, be so ham-fisted about it. None of us like this shit. We all know cancel culture sucks. What do you want us to do with this?
Yeah, I think every Star Trek franchise or series did that, where they go back to 19th or 20th century Earth or San Francisco or wherever. Like, and they're just walking around. They're getting the terminology wrong. I mean, hell, this Star Trek 4, for God's sake, they did that.
I actually like Star Trek 4. I don't know why.
So do I.
I'm not going to be able to explain why. It's kind of a doofy movie, but it just works for me.
Hey, it's why we have dolphins in space now.
It's exactly. Well, I'm going to pin that on Keith Giffen because Lobo. But hey, he beat him to the punch by a good 6 years, as far as I know. But yeah, there was that. There's like the one OG series where they go back to like 1940s Germany. It's like, is anybody going to be watching this episode and going, you know, those guys in the uniforms have a really good point?
No, there's a lot of people just covering their eyes during some of those episodes.
It's just like, okay, I don't know what I'm supposed to think about this. I guess I'm supposed to. All right, guys. Okay, whatever. But yeah, and it seems like I don't know. Yeah, the holodeck episodes were kind of just like a cheap mechanism to make that manifest. Now, I'm saying that while also saying that like the Sherlock Holmes episodes of Next Generation are my favorites. I don't know why, because it's not necessarily Sherlock Holmes and it's not necessarily about the mysteries. Like one of them's actually kind of like a I don't want to say a subtle like examination of the reach of AI or anything like that. I don't know, it's kind of big-headed, but it was the one where Moriarty supposedly discovers that he is the ship's computer.
Oh no, he thinks he's sentient.
He thinks he's sentient, something like that. Yeah. And even as a kid, I was like, oh, that's a fucking good idea. I like that. That is neat. That is really cool. And Data as Sherlock Holmes is not necessarily Sherlock Holmes. I mean, he acts sort of autistic because he's a robot and can't read people. He's very alienated from the human element of the plot. But he's also, you know, he's not snarky or anything. He's not addicted to coke. So you're not dealing with that element of it. It's I think a pretty good like examination of the concept from the ground floor, and then played with sufficiently in order to differentiate it. I don't remember any of the Western episodes though, or any other holodeck episodes for that matter.
There was one where Worf was trying to have some downtime with his son, who we still don't know if he's supposed to be 1 year old or 5 years old or 7 years old. It's the progression of Klingon aging was very strange. But they go on to the holodeck. It's like
tree rings. One wrinkle is 10 years.
Yeah.
2 wrinkles is 20. Anyway.
He got a new nub on his head.
Oh, here comes the puberty.
Yeah, and they go on the holodeck and they do like a Western thing, and Data is somehow involved when he gets corrupted into playing like several of the different Western characters. So if you know Brent Spiner's like nasally, whiny voice, he's doing like a Southern accent that doesn't quite work.
Is Next Generation still? No, not. We don't have Netflix over here anymore. Is it? Oh, it's on Paramount, isn't it?
Yeah.
I kind of want to see this like strongly.
It's worth watching once, but at the same time, I hate the holodeck episodes. The ones they did on Voyager, I think, were the absolute worst. It's Captain Proton. It's like, oh fuck, no, not one of these.
What? Okay, I didn't see any Voyager because by that point I was just like Star Trek, whatever. What? Excuse me. What is this?
Well,
who the fuck is Captain Proton?
Captain Proton is like their version of Flash Gordon, kind of. And they have Captain Chaotica, whatever, and the whole episode's in monochrome.
Yeah.
It's like really bad sci-fi.
Captain Chaotica instead of whatever their analog for Ming the Merciless would have been. Yeah,
exactly that. Yeah. So you get where the episode's going. I actually don't remember what the plot was, but odds are if it was a holodeck episode, it was probably, oh no, the holodeck computer has gone haywire. We got to figure out this problem in order to get out of the room. Just call IT, man.
That's lame as shit. No, I think they kind of leapt off of the Moriarty episode for the rest of those, if they are indeed playing that record over and over again. But I mean, I thought the original ones were pretty cool. And actually, the Orville did a couple of them, didn't they? Wasn't like
yeah.
Oh, why can't I remember this dude's name? He's like one of the best characters in the show. The guy, the Mocklin. Bortus, thank you. Yeah, wasn't he like... He got like addicted to the holodeck and wouldn't come out because he kept fishing or something?
I remember he got addicted to cigarettes.
I remember that one.
Because they opened like a time capsule and there's cigarettes inside of it. And it's like, what is this? Oh, they used to smoke it back in the day. And he smokes one. It's like, this is refreshing. And then he synthesizes his own version and just he's smoking all the time.
Dude, that show is so good.
Yeah.
Like, people underwrite the hell out of it, but it's like Star Trek with no rules.
It's like if Star Trek would drink and not have Scotty.
Kind of. I mean, that was Jay told me once that like one of the I guess one of the story Bible rules for the Orville was that people use the bathroom.
Yeah.
Because of Star Trek, nobody ever went poop. And that was kind of like what separated. I think at least
nobody wants to watch that.
No, nobody wants to watch it, but like it also like creates a bit of like a cognitive divide between, you know, the very human humans within the story and the humans that are watching it and go take a poop during a commercial break when everybody on the ship is like deliberating about what to do once the Klingons have like trained a bird of prey on them. So that was like one of the things that like in the very first episode, why can I remember the actors' names? This is not the characters' names. This sucks. But Scott Grimes, the character he plays, right before they go to break, he's like, "All right, hey, thanks. I gotta go take a leak."
Oh yeah. I mean, it's the Orville is more realistic than anything else.
Yeah, and they used a lot of like classical Earth music, or what's considered to be like classical Earth music by their era. Whereas, like, whenever Star Trek did it, it was like, well, we obviously got the rights for this one song for the whole season. And they'd mention it in passing. I don't know. I think the Orville's like a very logical and ambitious evolution of what Star Trek had been doing for years and years. And it's pretty cool that they've done it. They've been able to do it that way.
I love how, I think in Next Gen's 7th season, Jonathan Frakes was hosting a behind-the-scenes breakdown of how everything on the show worked and everything. And he made some kind of joke. They left it in and people ran with it thinking it was canon. But he points to like one little room on the bridge and says, "That's the one bathroom in the entire ship." Come on, John. Really? Over 1,000 people on the ship and there's one John? Yep.
Right. And the toilet.
Imagine the line for that bitch.
And like written in Sharpie on the side of the only toilet in that bathroom is the word Frakes. How about
for a
that?
good time called Diana.
I spend an hour in here every day buttering my beard up. A lot of people think that this beard is fake, but that's wrong. It's totally real. Which is a reference to another show he did. Anyway,
I heard Worf yelling "Kapla." What's going on? Oh, he's taking a dump.
Yeah, that was just a sound that his massive turd made when it, made splash down. Worf, do even your bowel movements know Klingon?
Why not?
And he's like fucking off his rocker on like Klingon blood wine or whatever the fuck it is that they drink.
Oh god, that's right. Klingons have those head bumps that go all the way up their skull, down the back, and down their spine. Where does it stop?
Oh, so like on the way out, it's like a log flume where it just goes.
Oh. It's like that wooden frog where you rub the stick up and down.
They actually have. They wipe with sandpaper.
Well, it's the honorable way.
We do have to catch all the nooks and crannies. Yes. They actually don't have paper. They can't use paper because it just tears through it. They have like,
really good bidets in the future.
Yeah. Oh, like pressure washer bidets. Or maybe they never like got past the corn cob because nothing else was more useful. Or whatever the Klingon version of corn might have been.
Oh wait, I forgot. They use seashells in the future.
Don't you use the 3 seashells?
You never heard of the 3 seashells?
Don't tell me this dude doesn't know how to use the 3. Dude, you're wasting toilet paper.
That's one of my favorite practical jokes to play on people when they come to my house.
Oh yeah,
because the hallway bathroom it doesn't have a handle on the side. It's got the button on the
buttons
on the top of the tank. I'll just cover that with a big old clamshell, seashell. People will go in there. It's like, Bob, how do you flush your toilet? What, you don't know about the seashell?
Did you know that, like, in an AMA, the director of Demolition Man actually revealed how the seashells worked?
Oh,
it's exactly as you had assumed. Scoop.
Oh, that's what he said?
Yeah, I think it was one of those jokes that was not meant to have an explanation, but so many people made a thing out of it because that's what happens with cult properties, right?
Yeah. Viewer discretion or viewer interpretation.
Viewer interpretation. Sometimes, in some cases, viewer apprehension. But Demolition Man's future revealed that the 3 seashells have replaced toilet paper, and in 2020, that looked way closer to reality than comedy would have kept at arm's length from us. Here's how they are supposed to function in the bathroom. This is from 2023, by the way, so we have updated information.
Oh. How
to use the restroom in 2023, presented by Demolition Man, has haunted filmgoers since the seashells were presented. So how do they work? La 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 la. Yeah, that's a plot synopsis for the movie. Great. You've got to get those reader hits.
5 paragraphs later.
Holy shit, yeah, no kidding. That's the second paragraph. In the years since the movie's release, many have speculated as to how the seashells actually work, which was something you mentioned in the first fucking paragraph, man. Much like Demolition Man's contactless high five, it was a bit of fun world building that wasn't fully explained. God, how prescient was this thing? Demolition Man screenwriter Daniel Waters was protective of the truth behind the Demolition Man seashells, because why wouldn't you be? Stallone himself revealed how they work in a 2006 interview via Ain't It Cool News. He explained that a writer told him, "You hold 2 seashells like chopsticks, pull gently and scrape what's left with the third." It's hard to say if such a technique would actually work in reality, which is to say nothing of how the shells themselves would be cleaned after use. So what that made me think of was,
how do you hold a seashell like chopsticks?
I was about to think or say that, like, what that made me think of was Ben your brother-in-law, stand-up comic.
Yeah, Ben Roy.
Yeah. Ben Roy, thank you. Ben Roy's bit about when he was trying to poop with a rib injury. And he was going, oh no, I'm gonna go in there and get it. So I assume that, like, as soon as it half crowns, then you deploy the apertures or the grips, as they might be called, with the third taken up duty as basically cleanup afterwards. Yeah.
So it works like a pap smear.
But what? God, I suppose. As somebody who's never gotten a pap smear but taken plenty of shits, I'm gonna have to go off of your authority alone. But that makes me think, though, is that it's almost like Aldi shopping, but for taking a dump, where you're held accountable for the state of the seashells when you leave the bathroom. So you gotta wash those fucking things. Which means that if the world eventually transitioned into full adoption of the 3 seashells, nobody would ever go into a half-price books ever again.
I get it.
Because it'd be covered in shit.
Yeah, it'd be
because people that go to half-price books are lazy as fuck. Hey, you know what? That joke killed in Texas. All right.
Well, it had to. They had to take it to term on there. They wouldn't let you finish they wouldn't let you not finish it.
Oh, that's a fucking rebound. Nice. Anyway, yeah. So now you know about the 3 seashells. You have no excuses anymore. Anyway, so you enjoyed Halloween Horror Nights.
I did. I actually ran into a friend of ours, friend of the show, Lee, who I met last year. He lives in the UK, and he's a huge fan and a longtime supporter of our show.
You've got to be fucking kidding me.
No, so yeah, Lee, I'm absolutely thrilled I got to meet you again.
Lee, if if I have ever made fun of the British at any point in any of our previous airings, I apologize wholeheartedly for them.
There's a very good chance you have, but at the same time,
I simply thought you were all mythological, and I would never have to be held accountable for mockery.
Well, this is the land that gave us Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, but it's also the land that gave us Monty Python
And Doctor Who.
But more Monty Python, so they get the joke.
They're all fictional, though, and I just assumed that like the rest of England was fictional. I'm sorry.
It's all make-believe.
But that
like
means
unicorns.
That means that there are real people out there that have those whimsical accents. I don't know. That just made my day a whole lot better, come to think of it. That's cool. They're like, what accent? You're the fool with the accent. You're the one that sounds like you just like vomit words.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. There's no denying that.
Dude, how the hell? Okay. All right. So obviously our perception of the English accent is one that's married to very broad imagery or recollection. I don't know how you want to put that.
You mean the American version?
The American version, yeah. We just think, we think that like no matter what region the accent comes from, the first thing that pops into our heads is, sophisticated. While, England has to have their southern accent. So I wonder which one of like our accents over here is kind of like the overriding accent, the one that like represents the entire continent.
I would assume if it's not the Midwestern traditional, not Midwestern.
Yeah, Midwestern's that's got an identity. That's like, don't you know that thing?
Yeah.
Because of the Swedish the roots.
I don't know what you would call like the transatlantic, just basic American English accent. I don't know exactly what you would call that.
Go ahead.
It's got to be either that or the New York, Brooklyn. Hey, the stereotypical voice. Yeah,
hey, I'm from Brooklyn. Well, that's what you think of when you think about Brooklyn, though. Now, granted, I haven't like actually heard, at least not until TikTok, but I've actually not heard somebody with a genuine transatlantic or a mid-Atlantic accent in in my reality at least, because that's like the classic like Brushy Wood Country Club accent,
Yeah, like the Katharine Hepburn.
Yes, really I am, that sort of thing. But the Southern accent, as far as I know, because of the pop culture that we've like unleashed upon the rest of the world, and I'm sorry about that. People know what the Southern accent is because they've seen like Smokey and the Bandit or Jeff Foxworthy or whatever.
This is true, but there are slight deviations between, like, say, Texas to Tennessee to Georgia.
Oh, well, we know that.
Yeah, there's all, but I mean, yeah, anybody else, they just hear, he must play a banjo for a living. But for us, like, Tennessee is just so happy. It's got that Southern accent, but man, I'm just so happy to see it. Everything is great. Go Vols! I love this. Everything's just wonderful. Yeah. Meanwhile, Kentucky's a little more of the same thing, but we're a little more depressed.
That's weird, isn't it? Because the Georgia and Carolina accent seems to like hook around Tennessee. Uh-huh. So it's kind of like the Smokies had developed their own culture amidst the lower lands. And I know what you're talking about with the Kentucky accents because my aunt lives up there. And I, whenever I visit, obviously we have to deal with Kentuckians, but
you have to deal with them.
But like Georgia and at least South Carolina all have a much lazier accent. And if you go back chronologically, of course, the past brings it much closer to his Scottish roots. So it sounds even lazier. But the funny thing is that when you think of Scottish, you think of like very aggressive, Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to do the accent because I want you to do it. But but it seemed like an overcompensation between that and then what was known as like classical mid-Atlantic accent, or what was, I don't know, what were like most of the British transplants up in the New England area. That must have had some sort of like a tempering effect on that, and that's how you wound up with the sleepy Georgian. Now Texas was the Southern accent mixed with Mesoamerican dialect, right? Which is how they got the more aggressive Southern accent.
The traditional Texas accent has like a little bit of charm behind it. It's not as aggressive as, say, Mississippi or Alabama, but it's got a little more friendliness, but at the same time self-assertive. Like, hey, we're going to go have ourselves a little barbecue over here. Why don't you come on down and join us? And by the way, leave your rainbow flags at home.
See, I would assume that was married more to the Mississippi, Alabama area like you're talking about. Because most Texas accents I've heard are like, they're not like aggressive, like mean or anything, but they're very like excited. They're very energetic. You know, I was like, what y'all doing over there? You know, something like that. Our barbecue don't suck. What are you talking about? It's like, yeah, I do believe your barbecue is kind of subpar, mister. I don't know what to say.
Oh, that's a little more Mississippi, but Mississippi and Bama, they're a little more gruntal, a little more deep and heavy. They like their sweet tea because on a nice night when the cicadas are just screaming your ears off, you just love that tea. It's wonderful. It's about 108 at 8 o'clock at night, but you don't care. And then Louisiana, I'm not even going to bother with that one. That one's a fucking mess to me.
That's a Jay bit. I'll have to have him do it next time he's on.
And Florida, I mean, yeah, it's Florida's absolutely true. The more north you go, the more south it gets. And yes, that is 100% true. So yeah, we're all over the place.
And Central Florida is just a disaster. Like, I can't even try to describe that to anybody.
Central Florida is usually cussing because they have to deal with I-4.
What's it called when you dump all the flavors of the self-serve soft drink dispenser into a single cup?
It used to be called a suicide.
Yeah.
But now you're not supposed to use that word anymore, so I don't know what they call it now.
Self-murder, we'll go with that. But basically the Floridian accent is just that. All the accents poured into the same cup.
A self-unalive.
Yeah, self-yeeting, as the kids would say. That's really called a suicide? I've never heard of that.
That's what, where you just go down the line. Yeah, that's what we called it when we were kids, was a suicide.
It's cola.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you take a sip and be like, that was a bad idea.
I don't know, I kind of enjoyed those.
I guess it depends on what's a dispenser. I mean, if it's Mr. Pibb and Diet Coke and Mellow Yellow, that sounds horrible.
Well, Mr. Pibb's already got Mellow Yellow tear you up. Mr. Pibb's already that. It's you know how Dr. Pepper was invented in Dublin, Texas, right?
Yes, I actually saw.
It was all the flavors of the tap, and so they just decided, you've got a face. What? Okay, what was the thing that you saw?
I just saw a thing on YouTube that talked about the creation of actually Mr. No, it was on Dr. Pepper, and then how Coke decided to make Mr. Pibb,
right?
And try to make their own pepper soda drink, and it was a funny watch, but it wasn't anything that's like. Oh,
it wasn't informative or anything?
It was a little informative, but it was like, okay, I have this info. It's never going to come up on Jeopardy.
You never know.
Or maybe it will.
Yeah, or maybe it will. Well, okay, but you didn't object, so I'm going to assume that I'm not doing disinformation here.
No, that does sound accurate, that the pharmacist just mixed everything together, and then he tweaked the formula throughout time. It's like, oh, this works. This isn't a cola. I'm going to call it a pepper drink.
Yeah, and I'm a doctor, or at least that's what I tell everybody. We're going to call it Dr. Pepper. And then he was like, maybe a little bit less Mellow Yellow, but it's still Dr. Pepper. Enjoy. Put some cocaine in it for you. That was basically what it was supposed to be. The Dr. Pepper's all of that. So throwing a Mr. Pibb into a suicide sounds like those maniacs that are just like, no. There's not enough base liquors in a Long Island iced tea. I'm going to top it off with brandy instead of Coke. Why are you doing that to yourself, man?
Well, now you have those Coke machines that have every flavor under the sun. Like, hey, we have 100 different Fantas, and try Mr. Pibb lemonade or Mr. Pibb
dude, vanilla. I have legit not seen a Coke bus since 2021.
Oh, is that what they're called? Coke buses?
Coke bot.
Oh, we got them all over the place in the theme parks.
Oh, so they still do exist. Okay, I thought that they might have fallen prey to the business diminishment of 2020.
No, I think they prefer using those because they can actually regulate how much they give out instead of somebody just walking up. Yeah, because the old fountain drinks, you just put your cup up to it and you hit the button and there you got your drink. But this one, most of the machines have like a little register at the bottom of the cup, and it's not going to give you soda unless you have already purchased it.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
And at the theme parks, you can only do it, I think, every 2 minutes. So you get one drink, and then you got to wait 2 minutes. That way you're not filling up like several cups at once.
Well, good job, soft drink AI. You've served a purpose. Admittedly frugal one, but like, yeah, up here. I mean, I'm running Uber Eats right now, so I'm in and out of like restaurants like all fucking day, and that just made me think that like I have not. I mean, McDonald's and some other fast food restaurants have actually pulled the self-serve stations back behind the counter now, so people can't come in with a cup and then do their thing. And I guess it's like to keep the customer away from like from the staffing area or whatnot, because now they have those kiosks too, so there's not that much face-to-face intervention.
Did they pull the machines behind the counter during COVID?
They could have. I don't know. That could have been like the impetus for them to do that. Yeah. But it was at about the same time that they went from like a contactless ordering procedure, if you want to call it that. So McDonald's doesn't have them. The Burger King that I was at here does not have them. The Taco Bells don't even have them. Like,
that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, the Coke Bot is gone in Portage, Michigan. Damn.
Was there like some kind of regulation?
I have no idea, but it was like the only robotic presence in my day-to-day that I could trust, and now it's gone the way of the dodo. Skynet keeps winning.
It's taking over down here.
All right, well, you're going to have to fight off the impending threat of the Cokebot army, and it's going to be a refreshing battle indeed. But up here, we face no such dramas. We're Cokebot free. And my reality's a little bit sadder for it. I don't know how to break it to you.
You can't get 12 different flavors of Fanta now.
I know. I don't get like Airsats Vanilla Coke. I don't get all the Fantas. I don't get like my fucking patchwork quilt of sucrose overdose.
Or you can go to Epcot and you get like Sprite from Russia that's cucumber flavored.
That actually doesn't sound that bad.
It's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's gonna be refreshing as fuck. That's kind of like
they have a couple that's really good, and then they have Beverly.
Yeah, well, I was wondering when you're going to mention the Beverly. Oh, Beverly's everybody's girl. You've had a Pim's cup before, right?
Maybe.
It's a cocktail, not like a soft drink or anything.
Oh, okay. Because I was thinking on the lines of like Moxie or whatever.
No. No, a Pim's cup is actually a gin drink, but it's commonly associated with summer, and you make it by the pitcher. Because what you do is you buy a whole bottle of Pim's number 20 something, number 30, whatever, and then you dump it into a pitcher, and then you throw about a cup of simple syrup into it, and you throw in cucumber, strawberry, and I think basil. No, it's mint. Sorry, I'm screwing it up. Oh, fuck that. It is basil. Hold on a sec.
Mint sounds better.
You mix them all together, and then you serve it traditionally at social functions and whatnot. I was just make it and drink it on the beach. Oh, here it is. Oh, this is like a different version of it, though. This isn't what we made.
It's kind of like the Kungaloosh. You go to a different place, and it's a completely different drink.
Maybe the same concept. You know, you can't have a static reality. Things got to get mixed up every once in a while. Here it is. So 2 cans of San Pellegrino Limonada. That's the X Factor. I've never seen that done. Pim's number 1. Freshly squeezed lemon juice, as if you don't have enough citrus interaction to begin with. 8 strawberries quartered. 8 fresh basil leaves torn. 1 lemon slice for garnish. And it sounds like a salad disaster. You know, nobody wants to drink vegetables, but the Pim is like a pretty strong sort of a gin. I don't really know what makes it different from gin, but it does taste differently, and it hits a bit harder. So everything else kind of like mixed into it more or less just takes up the total volume, and it's a hell of a thing. It's like one of my more I say reliable because I do not make this a lot, but it's one of my more trademark summer drinks. That and the whiskey cherry smash. But yeah, that's like something that shouldn't work either, you know? And yet it does. Anyway.
Yet it does.
And yet it does.
And there's our cocktail of the night.
Pim's Cup. And not what Sterling Archer calls a pimp cup. That is a misnomer.
You serve it in a bucket.
And Burt Reynolds was in that episode. He was like, "A pimp cup? Do you drink that out of an ornate chalice?" Yeah, exactly. No, it's a Pim's cup. Anyway, feel bad.
So this was a good little get back into the groove type of thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just thinking about Pim's Cup now, and I'm kind of distracted, so I want to have that before bed, but you're not supposed to because it's fall and it's too late.
Just time for hot toddy then.
Oh, is it hot toddy o'clock? I think you're right.
I think it's pretty close to it.
All right.
All right. So let's wrap this up.
Uh-huh.
And going forward, just as a little FYI to our listeners, that we have more than I actually anticipated.
Hot toddies for those Ligons.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Ligonians.
Oh, we're back on that. So, yeah, you're in the process of just... you're in the process of moving for a new job pretty soon, so...
Oh, me? Yeah.
Yes, you. So, I don't want to give too many details. I'm just letting our listeners know that we're going to be a little sporadic here and there. I mean, not like that's anything new.
Yeah, it's like if they've been listening, it's like Lee is just rolling his fucking eyes right now.
Yeah.
In a very charmingly sophisticated way, by the way.
Lee, Adam, Rob, like all you guys who reach out to me and you say, "Hey, I really love the show," guys. I absolutely freaking love you. Mm-hmm. I know there's a few other people. Please reach out. Let me know. Let me know. It really makes my head grow big.
Which impresses the Ligonians.
There it is. So let's wrap this one up. That was episode 113, I think. Wow, we're climbing up to that number 200 one day. 1 year. It only took us almost 7 years to get to this point.
Dude, I'm going to be missing like 5 teeth by the time we get to 200.
So I just want to remind everyone to practice infinite diversity in infinite combinations. There is a link tree to all of our socials and other media that can be found in the description. Join our Discord, maybe, and continue the discussion. You can find Jay.
That's a call to action right there.
Yeah, maybe.
Textbook.
If you want to listen to Jay, he's got a YouTube channel, Square Pegs. I am Skipper Bob. You can find me. Yeah, I am on YouTube. I haven't updated in quite a long time, but I'm also on the TikToks.
Videos, you slacker ass bitch.
Yeah, I'm getting around to it. It's a lot. It's hard. It's really hard making videos that people want to watch.
You need an annoying EP to crack that whip around there.
You available?
No, I'm lazy.
Well, there you go.
I don't have my own YouTube channel.
Well, I also have the TikTok and the Instagrams, and you'll find everything on the link tree. We also have merch on tpublic.com, and that features the fantastic art of Tom Solo. Thank you, Tom, so much for everything you've done for us. We are parts of the PODFIX network, and to all of our followers, new and old, we say, welcome to the guild.
Welcome to the fucking guild. God damn it, just get it out.
This was a podcast of the PODFIX Network. You can check out more shows like it at podfixnetwork.com.
That wasn't annoying, was it?
It's kind of funny.
Okay. To all your dogs and cats.
To all your dogs and cats. Yeah, thank you. I actually forgot. Jesus.
That's how rusty we are.